developed the supreme leader, now dead as fried chicken, but they have a new supreme leader, had developed a new game plan for their nuclear weapons program. And their game plan was to jack up missile, both ballistic and cruise missile production and drone production, and put together this huge stockpile of missiles and drones, at which point they would turn to the United States and Israel and the rest of the world and say, we're going to restart our nuclear weapons program. If you bomb us again like you did in June, we will destroy the Middle East. And by the way, our missiles can now reach Berlin and London and Paris. Is that my understanding of one of the reasons, the main reason we went into Iran?
I think that's pretty well articulated, Senator, that they were trying to use the umbrella of their established conventional stockpiles to blackmail the rest of the world in pursuit of their own nuclear.
That if you took President Xi Jingping and turned him upside down and shook him, that the African country of Mauritius would fall out of his pocket?
I don't know if we can, but I'd like to indulge you on that.
Well, let me try it another way. Mauritius is good friends with China, is it not?
I understand there's some level of a relationship there.
Yeah. Yeah, like they're BFFs or whatever the young people call it. Prime Minister Starmer wants to give Diego Garcia and the Chagos Islands to Mauritius, which has virtually no connection with the Chagos Islands, who will promptly give a spare key to Diego Garcia to China. Is that accurate?
What I would underscore is that Diego Garcia is a very strategic location, and having the ability to operate there for the United States military is going to be critically important in the future.
But Starmer wants to give it away, does he not?
As President Trump has stated, there's been some pretty bad deals made by the Brits as it pertains to Diego Garcia.
I'd like to hear you. I mean, the president's been back and forth on this, and I've talked to him a lot. He is not going to agree to that, is he?
No, as the president has stated, it was a bad deal that was cut by the UK and Prime Minister Starmer as it pertains to Diego Garcia, as evidenced by limitations that our troops could face in how we use that island. Yes.
All right. I appreciate that. My understanding is that the classified information and unclassified, it's public, showed that our intelligence discovered that not that long ago, Iran had developed the supreme leader, now dead as fried chicken, but they have a new supreme leader, had developed a new game plan for their nuclear weapons program. And their game plan was to jack up missile, both ballistic and cruise missile production and drone production, and put together this huge stockpile of missiles and drones, at which point they would turn to the United States and Israel and the rest of the world and say, we're going to restart our nuclear weapons program. If you bomb us again like you did in June, we will destroy the Middle East. And by the way, our missiles can now reach Berlin and London and Paris. Is that my understanding of one of the reasons, the main reason we went into Iran?
I think that's pretty well articulated, Senator, that they were trying to use the umbrella of their established conventional stockpiles to blackmail the rest of the world in pursuit of their own nuclear weapons.
Now let's talk about Iran today. Can we agree that Iran, both the public and the private sector, is being held together right now with spit and duct tape?
Spit and duct tape is not a doctrinal term, Senator, but I would agree with something along those lines.
It's a Louisiana term. I mean, 7 out of 10 Iranians are out of work. We bomb their infrastructure. They've got 70% inflation. Their internet's shut off. You know better than I do what we've done on the military side. Their launchers, gone. Their missiles, for the most part, gone. Their drones, gone. Do they have some left? Yeah. Their Navy, gone. Their Air Force, gone. You can get in an airplane, you personally, and fly anywhere you want to across Iran right now and feel safe because they don't have any air defenses. It will be, in my opinion, 20 years and cost $1 trillion before they're even back somewhat to normal. And I don't have the slightest idea where they're going to get the money. If they think China's going to give it to them or Russia, they've got to learn a hard lesson. To that extent, have we achieved our objective in Iran?
Objective, as this president has stated from the beginning, is to ensure they don't get a nuclear weapon, and President Trump remains dedicated to ensuring that happens. And everything you described with the military degradation of their country was in service of ensuring they never get a nuclear weapon.
This is what I never understood the president to say, I want a regime change in Iran, and I want to obtain all of their fissile material. I've never heard him say that. What I heard him say was, I don't want to go back through it, but our goal is to cripple them so they can't blackmail the rest of the world. Now, many of my Democratic friends are trying to say we have lost. Here's a footnote. You're not going to get Democratic support. They're not. They're not going to support you, Mr. Secretary, because they don't support President Trump. I know that's not a news flash. But they say we've lost. I don't get it. I don't understand how we've lost. Is the strait closed? Yes. But if we continue that blockade, where nothing's going in and nothing's going out, eventually they're going to have to shut down their oil fields, are they not? Half of their oil fields are low pressure. Once they put them down, they're not going to get them back up. Am I missing something here?
No, that's why the president is right when he says we hold all the cards, and we do. And we've got the best deal maker in the world able to make the best deal for the United States of America. And if we have to go back at it as the Department of War, we're ready to do that as well.
Well, keep two things in mind. You're not going to win over my Democratic friends. It's not worth getting your blood pressure up. Focus on other things. And number two, just keep this in mind. America first does not have to mean America alone. America first does not have to mean America alone. We need all the friends we can get. They need to carry their own weight. They need to pay their bills. But the more the better. I'm sorry I went way over, but I sure do appreciate
Senator Kennedy. Senator Murphy.
Thank you, Madam
All right,
Chair.
everyone, settle in and grab a drink, because what we just witnessed is the most unvarnished, high-stakes geopolitical autopsy we've seen in years. If you thought the rebranding of the DoD to the Department of War was just some edgy PR stunt for the 2026 administration, this hearing between Senator John Kennedy and Secretary Pete Hegseth is your wake-up call. We are watching a masterclass into Kennedy Shredder, that folksy, Louisiana-style interrogation that makes elite global strategy sound like a conversation at a backyard crawfish boil. But make no mistake, he is reading the final rites for the Iranian regime and sounding the alarm on a massive betrayal by the British government. Let's start with the Diego Garcia situation, because this is the educational deep dive you won't get on the mainstream news cycles. Kennedy opens by asking if he could shake President Xi of China upside down and have the country of Mauritius fall out of his pocket. It's a hilarious mental image, the leader of the CCP with an entire African nation jangling in his trousers, but the reality behind the joke is deadly serious. Diego Garcia is a tiny atoll in the Indian Ocean and is arguably the most important military base the U.S. operates. It's our stationary aircraft carrier that allows us to project power into the Middle East and Asia simultaneously. Now, the context here is that the UK government, under Prime Minister Starmer, has been trying to hand the Chagos Islands over to Mauritius. Kennedy is calling it what it is. Mauritius is a BFF of Beijing. If the UK gives up that land, China gets what Kennedy calls a spare key to our most strategic backyard. Hegseth's confirmation that the Trump administration is effectively freezing this bad deal is a massive geopolitical pivot. We are essentially watching the U.S. bully its oldest ally, the UK, to ensure the CCP doesn't get a foothold next to our bombers. This is a total shift in the U.S.-UK special relationship. It's now an America-first relationship where if you jeopardize our security, your deals go in the trash. Now let's get into the absolute meat of the script, the part where Kennedy talks about Iran. The reference to the supreme leader being fried chicken is the most 2026 headline you'll ever hear. For the audience, this is a direct, brutal reference to the aftermath of Operation Midnight Hammer, the June 2025 air war that decapitated the Iranian leadership. For the first time in a public hearing, Kennedy is revealing the secret, why behind that escalation. He's exposing the Iranian game plan, which was pure, unadulterated blackmail. They weren't just building drones for fun, they were building a massive conventional missile umbrella, ballistic missiles, cruise missiles, and drones to shield their nuclear program. Their message to the world was, if you touch our nukes, we destroy the Middle East, Berlin, and Paris. They were holding the entire planet hostage by threatening a conventional apocalypse to protect a nuclear one. According to this transcript, that bluff was finally called, and the umbrella was shredded. Kennedy's description of Iran today as being held together by spit and duct tape isn't just a funny line, it's a factual autopsy of a dying state. Since the U.S. and Israel launched the air war and targeted the infrastructure, Iran has devolved into total social and economic chaos. Let's look at the receipts Kennedy is listing for the audience. 70% inflation. 7 out of 10 Iranians are out of work. The internet is totally dark. But the military breakdown is even more insane. Their navy? Gone. Their air force? Gone. Their air defenses? Non-existent. When Kennedy tells Hegseth, you could personally fly a plane over Iran and feel safe, he is describing a nation that has been militarily reset to the year 1920. He estimates it will take 20 years and $1 trillion just to get back to normal. And here is the educational kicker. He knows China and Russia won't write that check. They like having Iran as a proxy to cause trouble, but they don't want to buy a $1 trillion broken vase. Iran is effectively on its own, starving in the dark. But the real kill shot in this script, the part that actually explains the endgame, is the oil field blockade. This is the part of the video where viewers need to pay the most attention. Kennedy talks about the blockade where nothing goes in and nothing goes out. He mentions that half of Iran's oil fields are low pressure. This is a massive technical detail. In the oil world, if you stop the pumps in a low-pressure field, the pressure in the geological formation drops for good. The oil becomes physically impossible to extract without multi-billion-dollar technology that Iran can no longer buy, build, or steal. By keeping this blockade in place, the U.S. isn't just stopping today's sales, they are essentially bricking Iran's future economy forever. If those fields stay down, the Iranian regime is financially dead for the next century. It's not just a war, it's a permanent economic decommissioning of a nation-state. And finally, we have to talk about the America first versus America alone doctrine that Kennedy drops at the end. This is Kennedy coaching Hegseth on how to actually maintain this new world order without burning out. He knows the administration is taking heat from the opposition, who he says will never support them anyway because they don't support President Trump. He tells Hegseth, don't get your blood pressure up over the political noise. But his warning is sharp. America first does not have to mean America alone. He's pushing for a coalition of friends who pay their bills. It's a vision of a world where the U.S. is the undisputed aggressive leader, the War Department instead of the Defense Department, but one that still keeps a circle of allies to carry the weight. He's essentially telling Hegseth to be the best dealmaker in the room, making sure everyone else carries their own weight while the U.S. holds the cards. This script is a masterclass in narrative control. Kennedy is framing the entire Iran conflict not as a quagmire or a controversial war, but as a total, decisive victory where the U.S. has achieved its objective of preventing a nuclear weapon through total conventional destruction. He's painting a picture of an enemy that is so broken they're barely a nation anymore. Whether you agree with the tactics or not, the story behind the script is clear. The U.S. has moved from a policy of containing enemies to a policy of dismantling them. When Kennedy apologizes for going way over at the end, it's a classic humble brag. He knows he just delivered the most viral, most aggressive summary of the new American war doctrine ever caught on camera. He's given Hegseth the talking points, he's given the audience the fried chicken headlines, and he's made it clear that in the world of 2026, the old rules of diplomacy are dead. If you try to blackmail the West with missiles and drones, you're going to end up looking for the spit and duct tape to keep your country from falling apart. This is the real story. It's not just a hearing, it's a funeral for the Iranian regime and a warning shot to China. Keep your eyes on those oil fields. If Kennedy's blockade continues, the Iran we knew is gone for good, and the best dealmaker is just getting started. This is the new era of the Department of War, and as Kennedy says, we hold all the cards.